So, how did we do? Our firm started off slow. Our products were not pushed appropriately at first, as too many segments were targeted, and not enough funds were spent, and we did not keep ahead of necessary research and development to modify our brands or introduce new ones. A mistake in research and development killed our soft brand aimed at savers. We missed an opportunity to stay competitive in this lucrative market segment, and eventually had to withdraw the product from the market as it could not compete. We were able to stay afloat via Solo, aimed at shoppers, and added Soar, aimed at professionals. We did not make our goal of being first to market with a Vodite product, but via Alone we were able to get in second. Releasing our first Vodite brand, Cell, with superior characteristics set us on a path to success. Our second Vodite brand, Sela, cemented it. In the final period accounting, we were the top-ranked firm in net contribution and value market share, and second in volume market share, cumulative net contribution, and SPI. This was a drastic improvement from our previous results, which often found us in fourth place in most or all categories. We ended up with 4 successful products, one aimed right at the soon-to-explode follower segment of the Vodite market. While we had less marketed products than most other firms, each of our 4 products was the leader in its prime targeted segment, and in the case of the Vodite market, we had the highest overall market share by far. This established our firm as the Vodite market leader. Through the additional capital on hand created by this position, our firm was also primed to enter new Sonite products into the market, probably regaining a foothold in the savers segment. Overall, our end results were positive, and we very nearly overtook Firm T for top SPI. One more period of results likely would have pushed us over the top.
Lessons learned. So what were we successful in? Over the course of the simulation, we found that we were successful in a few key areas. One of them was being able to forecast ahead and predict what our competitors would do. This allowed us to gain an advantage by being able to predict what the market would do and react accordingly to it. Another area we were successful in was knowing our segment. So each segment, the professionals, the high earners, the explorers, the shoppers, and the savers, have different interests in their products. We found that we were successful by knowing who we were targeting and catering our product to those specific segments. Knowing where to sell. So we found that if we knew where to sell the product, we'd have more chance of being able to sell it to the different segments. So understanding where our products are mostly purchased from, which would be specialty stores, mass merchandisers, or online stores, were one of the key areas that we were successful in. Alignment. Making sure our decisions are all agreed upon by the group. This was key so that nobody had any disagreements. If there was a disagreement between the group, we would go back and we would work it out until everybody was on the same page. And finally, the last one was not being afraid to take a loan. So a loan can seem very daunting at first, but actually it's a key area to success. We actually wish that we had taken a loan earlier in the simulation so that we could have flourished and taken advantage of the opportunity. Lessons learned reflection. If we could go back and change a few things, here's what they would be. Invest early. Don't be afraid to take out a loan or to launch a new product. While it may seem daunting at first to take out that much money, it will actually help you in the long run. Corner the market. Know what your product's strengths and weaknesses are and make sure you sell to those strengths. R&D. Don't be afraid to spend the money. R&D is critical for 2 reasons. It lets you know what your consumers think of your product as well as what your competitors are doing, and you can plan accordingly. And finally, review your input decisions. Make sure that whatever you put on your MarkStrat decision for your week or bi-weekly input decisions is what actually goes in there. We got burned a few times by thinking that we actually had input decisions, only later to find out they actually did not save.
In order to effectively market a product, the firm must understand which customer segments to target and how to do it. Each segment has its own major wants, and as these change over time, a firm must anticipate changing trends and constantly refresh products to keep up with them. Picking a segment to market to is important. A brand cannot be all things to all people. In the early going, our firm spread its Sonite marketing out a bit. We became more effective when we targeted one segment per product. However, with Vodites, we saw success pushing our product to multiple segments at one time due to superior brand characteristics and higher marketing expenditure. Our higher budget, based off of later period success, allowed us to grab larger market share and push competitors out. By increasing brand awareness, we were able to drastically increase our sales right out of the gate. Missteps in marketing a brand will certainly set a firm back. In our case, a missed opportunity to modify a product caused its eventual withdrawal from the market. Had we ensured that our modification was logged, our product would have been positioned at the top of the Sonite Savers market segment, and we could have then kept up with preference adjustments, rather than being stuck trying to catch up. As seen in the chart, the lessons that we learned over the course of the simulation led to much better results in terms of targeting the proper segments. Our later results in the Sonite Savers and Professional segments also show this greater success, as opposed to our earlier, poorer results when our brand targeting was watered down and less accurate.
While developing products, at first our team struggled with understanding the ideal brand attributes consumers wanted. We failed to develop products that met key consumer wants, thus had some rocky weeks in the early decision periods. As we researched the ideals our target segments wanted beyond price, we were able to create products that met customer demand. From those lessons learned, we were then able to tweak product offerings to stay ahead of our targets or create new products to meet segment wants. We also learned that often products within the same market can be markedly different depending on the target segment we were going after. In the Sonite market, for example, we developed 3 products: Solo, which proved on point with shoppers; Soft, which fell short of Savers' expectations and taught us a lot; and then Soar, which was perfect for its target professionals. Building upon those wins and losses, we developed products that met customer wants spot on for the Vodite market, Sell and Sella, which have allowed us to capture over 50% of market share in just 2 periods. When choosing the size and distribution of our commercial teams, we learned to look at where our targets were shopping, competitive intelligence on team sizes of other companies, and what the market forecast showed for consumer shopping trends in upcoming periods. Using this data, we fine-tuned the size of our commercial teams and their proper placement to capitalize on their effectiveness. Only in the event of budget constraints did we not match or beat our competitors in commercial team size. Next, we learned early on to use our finite advertising budget to mass market to the segments we were targeting. We had created products geared toward specific groups. Therefore, 90% or more of our budgets for each of those products each week were allocated to those specific segments. If a product is not designed for one group and is too far from their ideal values to pick up any significant market share, do not waste funds advertising to them. Lastly, we used advertising research and semantic advertising to drive consumers to purchase our product. If the segment valued power and price most, for example, we made specific strategies highlighting those 2 key features. This increased sales and purchase intentions, and we use this approach throughout most of our decision periods versus multidimensional scaling.
Price is very significant to consumers. The bar graph here shows characteristics in order of importance to consumers in the Sonite marketplace. As you can see, price is the most important characteristic among Sonites. In the Vodite market, price also has a strong impact, ranked second in importance. We learned it is important to have price closely aligned with the ideal price values in targeted segments for each product. Among shoppers, we were able to gain market share for our Solo product with very small price reductions. Our competitor had a very similar product, so by lowering the price to slightly below their price, we grew sales. The shopper segment is sensitive to price and values a good deal. However, lower price is not always more attractive. Among professionals, we had a negative effect when our product Soar was priced too low. This segment feels that higher price reflects better quality. By adjusting our price upward, we were better aligned with professionals' ideal values and increased our market share. Finally, we discovered that low price cannot overcome the challenges of a product not aligned with ideal values of the targeted segment. Our Soft product was targeted to savers. However, we had a misstep early on and were not aggressive enough with research and development projects to improve our product. We were soon overtaken by competitors whose products were better aligned with the ideal values of the savers. We lowered our price significantly to try to undercut our competitors and regain market share, but did not have success. Ultimately, we withdrew soft from the market. Different segments shop in different locations. It is important to recognize this and align the commercial sales team with the shopping habits of the targeted segment. For example, when we first launched our Vodite product Sell, we split our commercial sales team equally between channels because we had not purchased the appropriate research studies to know where our segments were shopping. However, we quickly discovered that innovators, our target segment, shop mostly in specialty stores. In fact, 64% of innovators were making their purchases here. Therefore, we realigned our commercial team to reflect the proportion of innovators in each marketplace, mostly in the specialty stores. Also, our product Sella is aimed at the followers market. Thus, we placed most of our commercial team in the mass merchandise area, which is where 44% of followers are making their purchases. However, we also maintained representation in both online stores and specialty stores to capture the followers in those areas. Together, that represented 56% of sales. It is critical to have product availability in the places where your targeted consumers are buying their products. Also, throughout the simulation, the shopping habits of our targeted market evolved, and we had to adjust our teams accordingly. Specifically, we saw a significant increase in online store purchases throughout the simulation. Commercial teams need to be distributed proportionately among the channels according to shopping habits of the targeted segments.